All right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, whatever time you're tuning into this video, just make sure that it is good. My name is Game Boy Rob, and today I'm going to do something a little bit different today, I think. I'm going to do something that I haven't done before. I'm going to do a video which is basically just going to be me talking a lot. I've got a lot on my mind. I've got a lot of things to say today. So I don't think I'm going to do any gameplay videos today. I'm not going to do play a bunch of decks on the ladder or anything like that. We're just going to sit back. We're going to enjoy this nice view of Bilgewater, these nice waves, and we're going to talk about some stuff. First off, I want to say that my Twitch channel, in case you don't know, I'll get this out of the way. In case you don't know, I stream every weekday, Monday through Friday, starting at 8 a.m. and usually going to noon, but sometimes going a little longer. So I'll go to like 2 or 3 o'clock if I feel like it sometimes on Twitch. Come hang out. We have a really nice time. And I just wanted to say today I had a very, very nice stream. I about doubled my followers. Shout outs to anyone who is coming in to my YouTube channel from there. Love you guys. Thank you for making that stream awesome. I wanted to get that out of the way. I just got a haircut today. Hope you guys noticed. Looks nice. I know. What I wanted to talk about mostly today is the upcoming tournament in Legends of Runeterra. There's a tournament coming up. I'm sure you're all aware. I've said this enough times on my channel, right? There's a tournament coming up. The tournament begins this Saturday, 2 days from now. And I'm going to participate in this tournament. And this is a really big opportunity for me and an opportunity for my channel. This is a very new channel. I'm a very new content creator. I haven't really ever done this before. This is a big leap out of my comfort zone. I've never done this. So any feedback obviously would be really appreciated. But yeah, so this tournament coming up feels really important to me. It feels like something that is a really big opportunity for growth. This is an opportunity for me to not only prove that I am a good player, that I'm a very good Legends of Runeterra player and someone to be taken seriously on the competitive scene, but also this is an opportunity for me to get my name out there, for me to get my name out into the zeitgeist of Legends of Runeterra, into the minds and eyes of people who play the game, people who watch streams, and other streamers, other people who play the game, right? Competitively and at a very high level. I want them to notice me. I want to be noticed. I want to be seen. And this is a really good opportunity to do that if I don't mess it up. And I'm really nervous. I'm really nervous about this tournament coming up. The format, in case you guys don't know, the format of this tournament is there's going to be 2 days of tournament. Saturday is the first day, and that is going to be the open rounds filled, and there are going to be 1,024 people playing in this tournament. There are going to be 5 rounds with you matched against other people, me matched against other people with a similar win-loss record, right? So in my first match, it'll be someone who's ranked similar to me on the ladder. And then in my second match, it'll be, if I win the first match, the second match will be against someone else who has also won. My third match, if I win, will be against someone else who has won twice. If I lose that match, I'll be pitted against someone else who has won twice and lost once, etc., right? So I will be going up against people who have the same record. Now, of those 1,024 competitors in the open rounds, the 32 players who have the best win-loss record will move on to the playoff stage. Essentially, what this means is that in order to progress, in order to move on from the open rounds to the playoffs, you have to win all 5 matches. You have to win all 5 of your matches consecutively, and probably, if you really want to make that top 32, you probably shouldn't drop too many games. You shouldn't go 2-1 too many times. You should sweep as many times as possible for maximum chances, right? And I'm nervous. I've never done a tournament like this before. At least not in this game. I haven't done this since college. I was on like a collegiate Hearthstone team, but we weren't very good. I'm not gonna get into that right now, but yeah, so I've never really done something like this before. I'm not like a seasoned pro like a lot of other streamers and big names in the game right now. Like I haven't been like, I know a lot of other streamers, and I'm not going to name names, but a lot of other streamers that are popular and that people watch are people who have been doing this since they were little, you know, since they like their whole lives, like since they were in middle school or high school, they were like attending Magic tournaments, or they were attending even Hearthstone tournaments. You can even say that now. Hearthstone's been out that long, right? And they've been going out and they've been competing as the best of the best and winning and getting cash prizes and being, you know, famous for being good at card games. I am not one of those people. This is my very first foray into the competitive scene, and I want it to go well. And I want to show that I can compete with the big boys. I can compete with the people who have been around and kicking and doing really well in this scene for a long time. Now, you may be asking yourself, Robin, Game Boy, you're great and all, right? You're a nice guy. You're fun to watch. But if you are so new to the game, if you are so new to competitive card games, what makes you think you can take these guys on? What makes you think that you have any chance really in this tournament? And well, I would like to show you this. Ta-da! I am currently rank 3 on the North American leaderboard. I have 774 LP, or points, or whatever you want to call them. I am only behind these two guys, these two legends, who are both sitting at over 1,000. I'm recording this, by the way, on, I believe it is December 3rd, Thursday evening, and the cutoff for ranked is tonight, at midnight, right? So in like 3 or so hours, the cutoff is going to be complete, and we're going to move on. Whoever's in the top 700 is going to be locked in, right? So before that happens, I got to about 775 points, almost 800 points. I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good, and I think that definitely says that I am, you know, competent at the very least at this game. Now, I have heard, and I have to say I have heard because I haven't participated, I have heard that tournaments and ranked are not quite the same ball game, right? They're not, just because you are good at ranked does not mean you are going to be great at a tournament, right? And that makes me nervous because I've never done it before, and I'm just gonna go out there and do my best, right? So what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do in this tournament? What am I going to bring? What is my strategy? How are we going to play? So the tournament, from what I can tell, from what I hear, is an open list format, which means that going into the tournament, going into the game, my opponent and I, every time, all of my opponents and I will be able to see each other's deck lists. When I am going into the ban phase, I will be able to see every card in all 3 of my opponent's decks. They won't be able to pull a sneaky one on me. They're not going to disguise a deck as an Undying deck. You know, like they're not going to disguise an Undying deck as a go hard deck and trick you or anything like that. That's not going to happen. You can see every card in an opponent's deck, which means I have no qualms about showing you guys every card in the decks that I'm going to bring, right? Because that doesn't give any advantage to my opponents that they're not already going to have. So the 3 decks that I have pretty much decided that I'm going to bring are Go Hard, Trundled Tryndamere Ramp, and a Fiora Shen Demacia Ionia. I think these are the 3 decks that I have done the best with. These are the 3 decks that have brought me as high as I have gotten on the ladder this season, and I'll go into them a little bit. I can make a video maybe tomorrow about like exactly what these decks are all about, and maybe me playing them on the ladder a little bit. But a brief overview. I finally wised up. I finally took the crazy meme cards out of this deck, the ones that I really wanted to be good but just aren't. There are no slot bots in my Go Hard deck. We took them out. We put in Doom Beast. Doom Beast is incredible in this archetype. It's amazing. You can't go wrong with Doom Beast. We have 3 Doom Beasts. We have 3 Salvage. I took out the P.E.K.K.A cards. I took out the slot bots. We took out the Tortured Prodigies. We don't really have room for those in an optimized version of this list, right? We have the 3 Zap Spray Fins. She absolutely belongs in this deck. She is incredible. She makes drawing into your go hards so much more consistent, and it's just so strong. This type of list is very strong. Now, most of what I have in here is very standard. I chose to go with the list that has 3 Twisted Fates, 2 Elises, and 1 Gangplank, just because I like Gangplank as a one-off, as a late game finisher. He serves that role very well. We try not to play him until after he's leveled up, and we can get that 6/6 with Overwhelm and the one damage to everything going on. That's very strong. We got 2 copies of Vengeance, 1 copy of Ruination, 1 copy of Commander Ledros, mostly for the matchup against Anivia control, and maybe against like other control decks like Trundle, Tryndamere, Ramp stuff. But other than that, everything in this deck is kind of teched to beat other go hard decks and to beat lighter, like fearsome style decks, right? We have 2 copies of Grasp of the Undying. This helps us not get burned down by other go hard decks. It helps us get a little bit more life, a little bit more longevity, which really helps out in that matchup. And we have a one-off of the box. This is our kind of like our second copy of Ruination. This is specifically here so that we don't get wrecked by the harrowing. Specifically the harrowing out of fearsome decks. You know, the Callista Elise mono Shadow Isles with like 3 copies of Pale Cascade, that deck. Everything that the harrowing summons in that deck has 3 or less health. The box can deal with all of it. So we have 1 copy of the box and 1 copy of the Ruination, and obviously the go hards, you know, can become a pack your bags. So if they harrowing and we can just play pack your bags, obviously that's a good answer too, right? So that is that deck. This is what I've been running. I have been running this on the ladder, and it has gotten me some insane results, some insane win streaks. I have gone on like 5 or 6 game, maybe even 7 game winning streaks by playing this deck. It's really strong. It's really good. This is my #1 pick for the tournament. I'm gonna say tournament so many times. For the tournament coming up, right? The second choice is Trundle, Tryndamere, Ramp. This is very standard. I haven't done a video on this deck on my channel because I'm sure everyone who knows anything about Legends of Runeterra is familiar with this deck. It's just a Trundle, Tryndamere deck that wants to play Catalyst on turn 3 or Wording Stones on turn 3. It wants to wipe your board early with Avalanches and then kill you with Feel the Rush, right? You've played against this a million times on the ladder. I didn't feel like it was necessary to make a whole video about it or anything, but in case you don't know, that's the idea. Now, this specific list was not my own design. I took this directly. From the #2 guy on the ladder. I went to this button, I clicked inspect, and I took his deck, right? And then I tweaked it. I changed like 1 or 2 cards, but it's essentially just this guy's deck. And I think it's really strong, right? So don't go thinking that I made this up or anything like that. Credit where credit's due. This is, what's his name? This is Nukim's deck. So, and that's this. I like most of what he's done. He has taken 2 Feel the Rush instead of 3, which I find to be very good because this is only one of our win conditions. This deck actually has a surprising number of win conditions. It has Feel the Rush, yes, but it also has Commander Ledros and like 3 copies of Tryndamere. And something you need to keep in mind when playing against this deck is that Tryndamere is as much of a win condition as, you know, all those other things. Tryndamere plus Atrocity is super hard to deal with. Tryndamere plus a second Tryndamere that turns into a Battle Fury is incredibly scary and can come out of nowhere and kill you if you're not paying attention. So you have to be prepared for that sort of thing. And then from there on, it's pretty standard. We've got 1 copy of Harsh Winds and 1 copy of Flash Freeze. Those are to deal with Lee Sin, should we ever find it. We've got 2 copies of Averos in Sentry, 1 Unspeakable Horror, and 3 Vile Feast. Very, very standard stuff. Very standard for a ramp deck. So we're taking this into the tournament as well. This has put up some amazing results for me as well. This beats pretty much everything on the ladder, except for anyone running Ionia. This deck beats anything that doesn't have access to deny. It's kind of that simple. If our opponent can deny Atrocity, we're in a bad spot. If our opponent can deny Feel the Rush, we're in a worse spot, right? If they can deny Ruination, we're in a terrible spot. So anything that isn't Ionia is vulnerable to this deck at some point, right? So we're taking that as well. Now, the last deck that I want to pick is not so... I'm not so certain about it, and I think I need to tweak it, and I will spend time doing that tomorrow on stream. This deck is a little bit rougher around the edges. This is obviously it's Fiora Shen, right? It's a pretty established deck in the meta. It's pretty established as a strong, powerful deck, but it isn't as good against what I suspect is going to be the most popular deck in the tournament, and that is Go Hard, right? This deck can struggle tempo-wise. It can struggle to get a bunch of units out quickly. This deck tends to play 1 unit per turn, if any, and always has spell mana in the back to protect those units, right? This deck puts a lot of value on the units that it plays, but it can't get them out very quickly. So to sort of compensate for that, to mitigate that, we have sort of teched this deck to improve our matchup against Go Hard. And the way we've done this is we've taken all of our Fleet Feather trackers. This Fiora Shen deck sometimes runs Fleet Feather tracker. We've taken all of those out and put in Green Glade Caretakers instead, right? We're running 3 Green Glades and 0 Fleet Feathers. And the reason we're doing this is because Fleet Feather has 1 health. And anything that has 1 health is a juicy, delicious Go Hard target. And that's what we aim to prevent. The idea behind this deck is to stop Go Hard from working for our opponent, right? So step 1 of that plan is to not give them any good targets for Go Hard, to sort of help delay the Go Hards and make them come out later, right? If my opponent draws Go Hard on turn 1 and I play a Green Glade Caretaker, they're probably still not going to play it. They're going to look for a better target, right? And that gives us time to find our 3 copies of Nopify. This deck runs 3 Nopify and 2 Deny. Deny in a pinch can act as a Nopify, but the reason these 3 Nopifies are in here is to counter Go Hard specifically. If we can counter all 3 of our opponent's Go Hards, we win. We completely win that matchup. They will die. They will run out of cards in their deck, and they will lose the game because they have decked themselves if we manage to get all 3 copies of Go Hard denied, right? So that's the plan there, is to just Nopify all 3 Go Hards in that one matchup, right? Nopify is also good against Ezreal Draven. It helps deny Mystic Shots, and it helps denies Culling Strikes, and that sort of thing, right? Get Exciteds, all those things are countered by Deny, or I mean countered by Nopify, but you don't really want to spend 4 mana to deny those things, right? So we've got 3 copies of Nopify, we've got a couple Sharp Sights. The other weird thing about this deck that you might not have seen, we took out 1 Concerted Strike, because again, Concerted Strike against like a Go Hard deck, not very useful. Concerted Strike against an Ezreal deck, only useful against Captain Farron, right? So there's really only 1 target for this card. We've got it down to a 2 of. The other thing we've changed that most decks don't have is we don't run Riposts. We have Fiora, right? We have 3 copies of Fiora, and naturally that means if we have a Fiora on the field, we kind of like have 2 copies of Riposte in our deck. But we're running 2 Prismatic Barriers. And this is because people don't tend to play around Prismatic Barriers. And now that I'm aware that they're open deck lists, I might revisit this. I might take out the Prismatic Barriers and put in Riposts instead. But the reason we're running Prismatic Barrier is because it allows us to play our units a little faster. It allows us to play our units more on curve. Normally, the biggest problem this deck has is that it can't always play Shen on turn 4. There are situations in which you have like a Fiora on the field on turn 3, and then on turn 4 you'd like to play Shen, but you have Spirit's Refuge in your hand, and you have maybe a Riposte in your hand, and both of those things cost 4 mana. So if you play Shen, you only have 3 on turn 4. You only have a maximum of 3 spell mana left over, and you can't play anything to protect him, right? But if we play Prismatic Barrier, we don't have that problem, and we can tempo out a little bit faster. And that is very good in tempo matchups like Go Hard, like Ezreal Draven, like everything that this deck struggles against. It does make our deck a little bit weaker against more late game focused decks like Swain decks, like maybe some Harrowing decks. Riposte is really good against fearsome decks, right? But I think something like this is what I'm going to go with. And again, I might tweak this in tomorrow's stream. We might be adding like a Radiant Guardian or 2 as well. But yeah, that's just a bare bones overview of the 3 decks I'm taking into the tournament. I hope you guys found that interesting. Speaking of the tournament, I will be streaming. I'm going to stream this tournament on Saturday. I'm going to stream all of my games in a row, and I'm going to put myself on a 15-minute delay so that I can't be sniped, and my opponents will have no means of cheating and looking at my hand while I am streaming. But it also means that if you're there in the stream, you won't be able to talk to me at the time. So if anyone is here looking to watch that stream, know that it's going to be more of a one-sided stream. I'm not going to be able to talk to you guys at the time, but if you're interested in seeing my climb and seeing my journey, then come on down, you know? But if you don't really want to go watch that kind of stream, if you're not into Twitch, into the Twitch scene, next week I will be posting videos of my 5 ranked matches, my 5 matches in the open rounds, right? I'm going to be posting 1 video a day next week of my 5 matches in the open rounds. And if I win all of them, and I don't know if I'm going to do that, right? If I win all of them and I make it to playoffs, I'll upload videos of that as well. And we'll have to see if I do that, right? Let the hype begin. Let the hype train commence. So that's what you can expect going forward next week. Tomorrow there's probably going to be a video going more in depth on my decks and probably playing them on the ladder a little bit. And then tournament day after that. So look forward to that. I think that's it. I think I got everything off my chest. I'm super nervous. I'm so scared. I've never done a tournament like this before, and I just really want it to go well, you know? I really want to get my name out there. I want to show the world that I'm a person, well, first of all, that I exist, right? I want to show everyone that I am a person that is playing the game, and I want to show them that I'm good at the game, and I want to show them that I can compete with all these big dogs. And yeah, if you'd like to cheer me on, come on down to my Twitch stream. I'll leave a link below. The tournament starts at, oh god, what time does it start? I'm actually not sure what time it starts on Saturday, but I'll try to figure that out and probably put that in the description below so that you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, I think that's everything. I think that's everything I wanted to say. If you've stuck with me this whole time, thank you so much for listening to my barf, my word vomit here today. And yeah, I love you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.